Have you ever asked yourself if your heart might be silently crying for help without you even realizing it? Imagine a 93-year-old heart surgeon who has personally witnessed thousands of patients throughout his long career, now sharing with us 8 critical warning signs that most people overlook. If you could recognize just one of these signs early, you might prevent a heart attack or even save your own life. Aren't you curious to know what your heart may have been whispering all along? This is not just another ordinary health video. This is a message that could change the way you listen to your body. In the rush of daily life, we often assume fatigue is simply due to aging, shortness of breath is from lack of exercise, or a lingering cough is nothing more than seasonal allergies. But have you ever considered that these seemingly harmless issues could actually be urgent warnings from your heart? If there were a single chance to protect yourself and your loved ones, would you be willing to listen until the very end? Before we begin counting down from sign number 8 to the most dangerous sign at number 1, I'd like to ask you for a small favor. If you find this topic truly helpful, please hit like and subscribe right now. Leave a comment by typing 1 if you want to learn more about protecting your heart health, or 0 if you think you don't need it just yet. What if just one click today could help someone detect heart disease early and avoid a tragedy? So, are you ready to join me on this journey to uncover the 8 dangerous signs your heart has been quietly sending you? Let's start right away with sign number 8, a signal that is often dismissed, but may be a powerful reminder that your heart is working far too hard. Can you guess what it is? Sign number 8. Unusual fatigue. Have you ever woken up in the morning still feeling exhausted, as if you hadn't slept at all the night before? For many people, the first instinct is to blame it on age or being a little too busy. But in reality, ongoing fatigue, even when you're just walking around the house or doing a few light chores, can be an alarm bell that your heart is straining harder than it should. I think of Mary, a 67-year-old from Florida, who used to believe her tiredness was nothing out of the ordinary. Yet when she finally went to the doctor, she was told her heart was weakening because it wasn't pumping enough blood. What about you? Could you also be ignoring a sign that seems small but is actually crucial? And would you like to understand why fatigue is often the very first whisper from your heart? Stay with me, because the next sign may surprise you even more. Sign number 7. Shortness of breath. Have you ever climbed just a few steps and suddenly found yourself gasping for air even though it used to feel effortless? Sometimes even while resting, your breathing can become heavy and labored. This may be the moment when your heart is no longer pumping blood efficiently, leaving your organs without enough oxygen. I once met a man in his 70s who had been walking daily for years, but one day he admitted, "Just stepping out to the porch, I already feel like I can't breathe." After testing, the doctor discovered his heart was weakening significantly. Are you experiencing something similar and dismissing it as just a part of aging? If breathing becomes difficult, perhaps your heart is urging you to pay attention. And if one day those short, shallow breaths turn into a panic, what would you do? The answer may lie in the very next sign. Sign number 6. Irregular heartbeat. Have you ever felt your heart suddenly beating faster, fluttering, or skipping a beat, even while sitting quietly? That sensation isn't always just anxiety or excitement. The heart has its own electrical system designed to keep its rhythm steady. When that system becomes disturbed, you can feel the irregularity clearly. One of my patients, Richard, age 72, shared that sometimes his heart felt like it tripped over a beat, then raced uncontrollably. At first, he thought it was nothing, but later his doctor diagnosed him with arrhythmia and insisted on immediate treatment. Think about it. If your heartbeat suddenly changes while you're at rest, Could that be your heart calling for help? And if the rhythm can shift so unpredictably, what happens when your heart faces even greater pressure? You'll see it more clearly in the next sign. Sign number 5, swelling in the feet and ankles. Have you ever noticed your shoes feeling tighter in the evening, even though they fit perfectly in the morning? Many people assume it's just from standing too long or walking too much. But the truth is, when the heart struggles to pump blood effectively, fluid begins to pool in the lower parts of the body, causing the feet and ankles to swell. I once met a 69-year-old woman named Linda who said that every night when she removed her socks, they left deep imprints on her skin. At first, she thought it was nothing, but her doctor warned her this was an early sign of heart failure. Have you ever brushed aside such small changes in your body? And do you realize those swollen feet may be your heart's silent reminder? If this sounds familiar, take it seriously, because the next sign is far more alarming. Sign number 4, persistent cough or wheezing. Have you ever had a lingering cough that just wouldn't go away, especially at night, and comforted yourself by thinking it was just a cold or an allergy? In reality, when the heart fails to pump blood effectively, fluid can build up in the lungs, leading to a chronic cough and uncomfortable wheezing. One of my patients, Thomas, age 74, believed he had bronchitis. He took cough medicine for an entire month with no relief, until a cardiologist discovered his heart was weakening and causing fluid retention in the lungs. Think about it. How many of us might mistake a harmless cough while our heart is actually crying for help? If even a cough can be a dangerous warning sign, what happens when oxygen-rich blood doesn't reach the brain properly? You'll see the answer in the next sign. Sign number 3, dizziness or lightheadedness. Have you ever been standing still and suddenly felt the world spin around you, as if the ground beneath your feet had disappeared? That sensation might last only a few seconds, but it's a warning that your heart isn't pumping enough blood to your brain. I recall William, a 70-year-old, who was watering his garden when he suddenly staggered and had to grab the fence to keep from falling. He thought it was just a momentary drop in blood pressure, but tests later showed his heart was weakening and struggling to supply his brain. Have you ever brushed off such dizzy spells, assuming they would pass on their own? Now imagine, what if one day this happened while you were driving or holding your grandchild in your arms and you suddenly collapsed? And would you like to know the next sign, the one directly tied to your heart? The very place where the most dangerous pain can erupt without warning. Sign number 2, chest discomfort. Have you ever felt your chest weighed down, as though someone were squeezing it so tightly you couldn't breathe freely? Many people assume a heart attack must always be dramatic, just like in the movies. But in reality, the heart often warns us with subtle, persistent pressure, a vague tightness, or an achy heaviness. Susan, a 68-year-old woman, once told me that every time she walked to the supermarket, her chest felt heavy, but it eased after she rested for a while. She ignored it for months until one day the pain lingered and nearly caused her to faint. Have you ever dismissed these fleeting chest pressures, reassuring yourself that they would go away? The scariest part isn't the pain itself. It's missing the golden opportunity to stop heart disease before it becomes life-threatening. And would you like to know what happens when that vague tightness suddenly turns into an urgent, crushing chest pain so severe that you have no choice but to call 911? Sign number 1, severe chest pain or heavy pressure in the chest. This is the loudest alarm your heart can send you. Imagine sitting quietly when suddenly a crushing pain spreads from your chest to your shoulder, arm, and even your neck and jaw. The pain doesn't go away, no matter how much you rest. I remember Henry, age 73,
who thought the discomfort he felt was just muscle pain after gardening. But only a few hours later, he was rushed to the emergency room with a heart attack. Can you picture it? Just a moment's delay can decide between life and death. If you or a loved one ever experience this kind of intense chest pain, do not hesitate. Call emergency services immediately. In that moment, your heart is no longer whispering, it is screaming for help. So, would you like to know how to protect yourself before your heart is forced to cry out so violently? Stay with me, because right after this, I will share simple yet extremely important solutions to keep your heart strong and steady. So after all these warning signs, what can we actually do to protect our hearts? Many people think they need medication or surgery to keep the heart healthy. But the truth is that even the smallest lifestyle changes can make a huge difference. Did you know that just 20 minutes of walking each day can strengthen your heart far more than sitting still all day long? Are you willing to try it? Pay attention to your sleep, because good sleep is nature's medicine for the heart. Eat a balanced diet, cut down on salt, avoid fried foods, and instead add more vegetables, fish, and nuts. And most importantly, never ignore even the smallest signals your body sends you. If you feel short of breath, unusually tired, or sense chest discomfort, get checked right away. Do you want to wait until your heart is screaming for help, or will you take action when it's still just whispering? Remember, health is not only about adding years to your life, but about living those years in strength and fullness, enjoying time with your children and grandchildren without becoming a burden to your family. A healthy heart means a more complete life. And would you agree that simply caring for yourself today is already giving an invaluable gift to both yourself and your loved ones in the future? If you found this message helpful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe so you won't miss other important health insights. Share this video with your friends or loved ones, because someone you know might be silently carrying a dangerous sign without realizing it. Leave a comment below. Have you ever experienced one of the 8 signs I just shared? Type 1 if you have, or 0 if you haven't. Your sharing could help make this community stronger and more connected. And always remember, your heart never lies. It always gives you warnings before it's too late. The only question left is, are you ready to listen to it starting today?